Have you ever wondered what it would be like to go to school in Gotham City? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then reveal it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Our story opens on two young girls of the prestigious Gotham Academy, Olive and a girl going by the name of Maps. The headmaster of this fine academic institution is welcoming Maps to the school ground and informing Miss Olive Silverlock that she will be showing the girl around. But Olive and Maps already know each other. Olive is, or was, dating Maps' brother Kyle. She doesn't really know anymore. After this summer, she hasn't spoken to Kyle and she hasn't told Maps, so Maps thinks her brother and Olive are still dating. No one knows what happened to Olive, and she isn't talking either. But it's on her mind, and she absent-mindedly shows Maps around the school in the rain. Things have been rough for Olive, not because she's dealing with the popular kids like Palmline French, or the troublemaking kids like Colton Riviera, but she's also hearing rumors that Gotham Academy is now haunted. And her roommate isn't liking this new depressed Olive, the one that stares at the pictures of her mother and of her and Kyle. So she just wants to have fun and relax, and explore the massive grounds that make up this academy. Olive finds Maps drawing up the school grounds, and she asks her, "Tomorrow do you want to skip the assembly and check out the creepy parts of the old chapel instead?" So while the assembly comes together below them, the two girls begin to snoop around the attic of the chapel. It seems pointless and they aren't finding anything of interest, until Maps looks out the window, and she swears that she sees something moving in the North Hall. The North Hall was declared unsound after an incident during the summer, and no one should be there. But sure enough, Olive believes Maps. So the two of them decide to climb a little higher to the belfry so that they can get a better look. But since it's all broken and damaged, Maps has to lead the way, explaining that she knows exactly how to traverse broken beams and iffy walkways. She is always her party leader in their local role-playing game. Once they reach the top, Maps comments that they can see all of Gotham now, and that's when they see the bat signal come on. Ugh, I hate that thing, Olive says. No, it means we're on the right track, Maps tells her. And then Maps falls off the belfry when the ledge gives way. She begins to hang for her life off of a gargoyle, asking for Olive's help. With tears streaming down her face in fear, she screams, "Olive! Olive!" and Olive vanishes somewhere else on the roof. But then we see a rope come down the side and Olive begins to rappel down to get Maps. Both girls begin to clutch to the rope for their dear lives, when suddenly bats begin to fly out of the belfry and both girls lose their footing and they begin to fall to the bottom of the rope, where they dangle in front of the window, which is overlooking the entire assembly. The keynote speaker, Bruce Wayne, turns around and sees the girls. Olive. Both of the girls are brought to the nurse's office to see if they're okay, and the nurse shines a light into Olive's eyes to check her pupils. That's when Olive swears she sees Batman coming for her. "No, get away from me! You're not gonna take me too!" she screams. But as the light is removed from her eyes, she sees that she's yelling at Bruce Wayne. "I'm sorry, Mr. Wayne. I don't know what happened," she tells him, confused. "That was quite a stunt, Miss Silverlock. I wanted to make sure you weren't hurt. You saved your friend's life, and that was quite a feat." But Olive doesn't care about that. Kyle and Maps thank her for saving Maps, and Maps exclaims, "It's just like Batman saved her." Olive just walks back to her room to call it a night, and when she gets there, she finds her roommate cowering beneath the covers. She swears she saw the ghost. Olive, on the other hand, thinks that it was just the bat signal shining through the window. They'll be fine. Olive is kind of right. It wasn't a ghost, but there is an eyeball staring at them through the walls. The next night, Olive is trying to have a normal life while reading the diary of Millie Cobblepot, a member of the Cobblepot family that went missing back in Gotham's earliest days because she went crazy. When out through the window, she swears that she sees something odd, people in cloaks running past holding a weird object. Only in Gotham can you see this. Olive then goes to class the next day where she volunteered to work with the popular girl, Palmline. They need to get their Gotham history projects done, so they begrudgingly go to the library together. And then with the help of the librarian, Mr. Scarlet, Olive tries to find the book, The Gates of Gotham, and that's when she sees an odd boy with very red eyes. He was just looking at her, kind of weird, and then he was gone when Palm interrupted her. The book that Olive and Palm were looking for contains maps of the school's grounds and various other interesting facts that were handwritten into it, like the fact that there's a cemetery behind the North Hall. But Palm quickly takes the book from Olive. All this time it was right there? Olive is curious. What do you mean all of this time? Keep your nose in your business if you don't want to lose it. And then Pom leaves. Smell you later, bandwagon. Olive spends the rest of her day hiding beneath the bleachers because she doesn't know what to do. She can't tell Kyle what happened, but she really doesn't want to just end it with him. One of the teachers then finds her and helps her out, telling her that the summer didn't change who she was deep down. She just needs to keep digging until she can find herself. Thinking about it, Olive returns to her room to find Maps is there about to hit the wall with a hammer. Olive's roommate apparently asked Maps to find out what she keeps hearing in the walls, and Maps' answer was to tear the walls apart. Olive storms over to Maps and begins to drag her out of their room before they can all get caught out after curfew. But that's when they see the cloaked figures running across the school grounds again. They follow the person and they find the graveyard behind the North Hall, and then they find an odd-looking crypt in a tree. Maps is crazy excited because all of her dungeon-crawling fantasies are about to come true. But Olive just wants to know what's going on, and when they finally get inside, they see 3 people in cloaks and masks chanting. Olive quickly recognizes the book that Pomline took from her, and she walks over to the chanting fools and takes it. This doesn't belong to you. Pomline tells her to give it back, and they accidentally knock over one of the candles, but Olive has had enough of being pushed around. No, you don't know who you're dealing with, she tells Pomline, and I swear, the flames around Olive seem to react and swirl around her. The other 2 that were with Pomline threw water onto the flames, and they put them out, leaving Olive standing there dripping. And that's when all 5 kids went back to their rooms. The next night, more oddities happen when Olive's roommate shrieks because she swears that she sees the ghost. As a matter of fact, it's Millie Cobblepot's ghost. Pomline also shows up and blames Olive. It's all your fault that Millie Cobblepot's ghost is roaming free. But before Pom can explain further, the headmaster arrives and they agree that they'll discuss everything tomorrow. Pomline explains that she was just goofing around and that she summoned Millie Cobblepot's ghost, or someone else's ghost. Either way, she summoned a ghost. So Olive agrees to give them a hand, but before they can make any other plans, Kyle finally finds her. Olive, we need to talk. And they do just that at the local creek. Kyle explains that he missed her, and he just wants to know what's going on. So Olive explains that she didn't mean to push him away. It's just that her mom, she's been sick and in the hospital, and the hospital collapsed, putting her mother on life support. Kyle pauses. I didn't know, I'm sorry. I still care about you, Kyle, she says, slightly touching his hand. But you need space, I get it. Look, I'll always be here for you if you need me. It's okay to break my heart, I can take it. Just don't break Maps' heart too. So, Olive doesn't, and she brings Maps into the investigation with Pomline. The group decides that there has to be something going on in the Northern Hall. It's been locked up all summer, and that's right where these ghost sightings started, so their investigation might as well begin there. Olive, Maps, and Pom all bring Colton along to pick the locks, and he gets them inside with his amazing lock-picking skills that stupefy Maps with just how awesome it is. Inside, they find a place that looks like it was damaged by fire, with a big hole in the bottom floor. And as soon as Olive enters, she knows that she's been here before. But when? That's when she gets a flash of a fire in the building, and a bat-shaped man standing in it. All of these are memories, but she just doesn't know when this happened, and Pomline turns to her. Olive, snap out of it, we're on a ghost hunt, remember? All of the kids go to the hole, and Pom uses her phone to shine down into it to see what's going on down there. And that's when she accidentally drops her smartphone. Oh well, I have 2 more back in my room, she tells the group, and she begins to get up and leave. But Olive can't even afford one of these, so she reaches down into the hole for it. And that's when a big green scaly hand comes up. All of the kids panic and they run out of the building. The next day, both Olive and Pom look at the sealed North Hall. That wasn't Millie's ghost, Olive tells her, and Pom agrees. That was something else. But the facility knows that somebody went into there and they've sealed it up for the safety of the students. Olive begins to wander around the campus trying to decide what's going on and what she should do when she accidentally falls down some stairs and is caught by the mysterious boy with red eyes. Shocked, she asks him, "How did you?" But he cuts her off. "This isn't the first time that I've caught you, Olive." And he walks away, leaving her to her own thoughts again. That night, as they're sitting in her room, Olive and Maps begin to try and put this all together and come up with a plan to investigate and where to go. When Maps begins to shout, "Look, Olive!" And outside of their window appears to be a corpse. The corpse of Millie Cobblepot! Olive has had enough of this ghost nonsense, and she runs over to the window, breaking it with her flashlight, and she grabs the ghost. It's just a mannequin with a dress on. So Olive tells Maps to stay in the room and keep packing for their investigation, while she goes to the roof to see who's behind this. And who's behind this whole ghost thing? It's one of Pom's two friends. As it turns out, he has a bit of a crush on her and he wanted to make her happy, so he was trying to make her think that she had summoned the ghost. Olive tells him that if he cuts it out, she'll keep this between them, but she does want some information. Who is the blonde kid with red eyes? Oh, that's Tristan Gray, some kind of exchange student, he says. Well, with those two mysteries solved, Olive begins to walk down the steps, and that's when she begins to remember some lines from Millie Cobblepot's journal. One about secret passageways and loose stones with a special symbol on it. Seeing the symbol, she decides she's going to press the loose stone to see what happens. And that's when she reveals a hidden passageway in the building. Oh boy, this girl is all about adventure, huh guys? So in the middle of the night, she begins to creep behind the girls' dorm and she discovers that there's a peephole into every one of the girls' rooms. So she runs to the backside of her own room where she can see that Maps is still trying to pack their bags, and she yells for Maps to join her in this hidden passageway. Well, curious as ever, Olive keeps going, figuring that Maps will just catch up. And that's when she sees the ghost, the hand, the thing behind the walls that has everyone spooked. It's Killer Croc. But he doesn't look mad, and he doesn't look angry. He looks sad, and he's holding a picture of Olive. So Olive doesn't run. I won't tell anyone you're here, but I think you knew my mom, and I need you to tell me about her. Sybil Silverlock. You were in Arkham with her, weren't you? And Croc just stands there silent. Don't just stand there, say something. How else did you get the picture of me? The name's Croc, and yeah, I knew you, Ma. Her cell was across from mine, and she had this photo on her wall, and she gave it to me before Arkham collapsed. I promised her that I would look out for you. She remembers me? Olive says, surprised, but before she can get any more information, Maps begins to catch up, shouting, Olive! I'm lost in the walls and it's amazing! Ugh! Croc says, shocked, and he begins to run off. Nobody can know that I'm here! I can't go back to Arkham! And he takes off into the tunnels, just as Maps arrives and bumps into Olive. You won't believe this, Olive! I saw a lizard man! Lots of hit points and they never drop anything good. Friend or foe? Friend, I think, but there's only one way to find out. So the girls begin to try and follow Croc. But they end up at a dead end because he closed the tunnel as he ran away, leaving Olive with no answers. So the next day they get the whole team together, Pom, Colton, Maps, and Olive. And Olive explains that it was actually an escaped Arkham inmate this whole time, and she needs to find him, because he's a friend. But as they begin to develop their plans, Kyle stops by. So Olive decides to ask him to the upcoming dance, because she wants to get her life back on track, and she needs to do it one step at a time. So the kids all wait until the night of the dance, because all of the administration will be busy, and they can sneak back into the North Hall. So as the night goes on, Olive slips away from Kyle right as they begin to fix their relationship. And all four of the kids make their way back to the hall. It's okay though, Maps says that Kyle is just too lawful to go with them for this. The first thing that they do is they need to break into Headmaster Hammerhead's office to get Colton's bag of tricks. And Hammerhead has some kind of crazy ruin riddle lock, something right up Maps' alley. While in the office getting back Colton's things though, Maps also finds a crossbow and she hands it to Olive, just in case. They then all make their way across the school grounds, heading back to the girls' dorm where the tunnel entrance to the North Hall is. And that's when Olive sees the giant bat flying overhead, so she takes a shot with this new crossbow. This bat thing has been haunting her since the summer. She has to hit it. And she does. Oh no, what did I do, she thinks. Then she runs over to where the crazy giant bat thing fell. But as she gets closer, whatever it is begins to yell out, "Get away!" But she can't help herself. So she gets closer and she sees Tristan Gray. "Get back! I have the Langstrom man-bat virus. That's why I'm at this school. He's trying to find a cure for me. But last summer I saw you wandering off in a daze, so I followed you. By the time I caught up, you were already in the North Hall and it was on fire, so I ran in to save you. It was Professor McPherson that helped me get you back to the school from there." But before he can explain anything else, Maps once again comes up interrupting, and Tristan takes off for the sky. Before Olive can say anything, Maps begins to drag her off, telling her, "You need to be more careful. Don't worry though, I'll keep you safe." "Thanks, Maps, but I think I can manage," Olive tells her. So the kids all make their way back to the North Hall through the passageways, and they literally use one of Colton's tricks to blow up the covered hole. Panicking, Croc begins to run upstairs, but Olive yells out, "Hey wait, we brought you food!" Well, that's Croc's one weakness. So he sits down with the kids and he eats and he tells his stories. "I threw a rock at him!" While the stories are funny, Olive wants to know, "My mom, how did she know about all of these tunnels?" "Sybil said a lot of things, but she was right about this boarded up old building, and it was the first place that I found. Someone made a mess of this joint, but it makes for a decent hideout." Poor Olive can't get any more answers though. as 3 smoke pellets begin to roll on the ground towards the kids and Croc. "Oh no, it's Batman! Stay away from me," Croc shouts. "You won't take me alive," as Batman jumps in swinging. Olive can't help but stand there in shock. It's him. This is Batman, the guy who took her mother. Batman and Croc continue to fight through the smoke when the police begin to form up outside and announce, "Killer Croc, this is the Gotham police, and we have the building surrounded." Olive can't look away though. This superhero ruined her life. Furious, she looks down at Coulson's bag on the ground, his bag filled with firecrackers and tools, and she just stares at it until it ignites on fire. The fireworks and crackers all start going off in the building, confusing Batman. "Stay away from him! Haven't you done enough already?" she shouts. "Olive, don't move." But with the building beginning to burn down around them and the structural integrity already ruined, Croc begins to ignore Batman and he grabs the young girl to carry her out of the building and into the tunnels. "Mr. Croc, you saved her! You're a hero," Maps tells him. With Batman dealing with the fire, all of the kids begin to run back the way they came. But Croc takes Olive elsewhere. "Croc, where are we going? The other kids went that way," Olive asks him. "I know these tunnels, little Olive. Long before your mother told me about them. Sybil, your ma. When she gave me the lowdown, at least I think it was Sybil. Sometimes she'd change. She'd have another side of her that wasn't so nice. They typically kept her hopped up on drugs, but when she calmed down, she was herself. It was like she would forget everything that happened to her, everything in Arkham, and she was your ma again. When she looked at me, she didn't see a monster, and she never stopped loving you, little Olive. I was afraid that she'd forgotten everything, forgotten me. Thank you. This is all wrong. I swore I'd protect you, but look what happened. Oh shush, I don't need protecting. I've gotten this far, haven't I? I guess your friends seem all right." And then Croc left Olive as he swam deeper into the sewers alone. "You have a little of your ma's fire in you. If that's who you really are, come find me one day, little Olive." So Olive went back to school, where Maps was super excited about the adventure they just had. While Olive, she went to the roof to look down at the police trying to find Croc. And that's when Batman found her. "You're lucky nobody was hurt. You're lucky you weren't hurt. Don't pretend like you care. You took my mom away. You destroyed my life. You destroy everything. You were reckless back there. Croc is dangerous and belongs behind bars. So was your mother. It was the only way to save Gotham." "No, we lost everything and then she couldn't get her medication. None of this is her fault. Don't you get that?" "One day you'll understand. Now I need Billy Cobblepot's diary." "I don't have it. It was in the bag of fireworks and it's probably up in smoke now." And with that, Batman left. So the next day at lunch, the kids began to go over everything. The ghost wasn't a ghost, and the monster in the walls was only Croc. But they saw Batman, and they had a crazy adventure. And Kyle, well, he wants Olive to know that she can trust him. She didn't have to slip off. So all of the kids begin to figure out that these buildings are all connected to Arkham Asylum, and Maps decides they need to investigate the rest of these buildings. So, it's time to make the Detective Club with exclusive membership. And thus, the Gotham Academy Detective Club was born. Nothing bad can come out of this. And things in the Academy are only about to get more interesting with their newest student, Damian Wayne, son of Bruce Wayne. I hope you guys enjoyed this little story away from our normal Gotham City stories. I personally love this book and the artwork is simply beautiful. I'm Benny for Comicstorian, and check out these other videos on the screen, you just might like them. And I'll see you guys next time right here.